Hey Flockers, this is Sarah.
And this is Jenny. You are listening to Naked with Stuff, where we
assess the mess with finesse. Welcome back, you guys. It has been a fucking hot minute since we've been here. So much has happened.
How many months did we take off?
We recorded it was in August, so it's mid-October now. So
not even that long, but still it feels like forever.
It feels like forever.
A lot happened.
A lot has happened. So let's get comfortable being vulnerable. Your virtual besties are back, and we want you to feel like you are here right with us. Okay, today's podcast. What's the purpose of today's podcast?
We are catching up. We are doing a little recap. We're talking about our lives in the last, I want to know, is it 6 weeks? That's going to really bother me.
I know. Oh,
how many weeks we took off.
I know. I'll have to calculate.
It's fine. We have big things happening. So we're just going to do like a current life.
Yeah.
So everyone's on the same page and you know what to expect coming up.
Yes. So the big thing for us was getting our lives together and getting our kids back to school. So that was super fun. # not fun.
Which moms can relate, going from summer to
school.
Car lines.
Making
lunches.
Getting up early, super early again, and all that.
The struggle's real. We're going through it with you. And that was actually inspired one of our episodes this season. We want to also bring on the teacher perspective.
Yes.
We have a really good teacher friend, and I'm sure they're feeling it too. Like, get some insight on that. How are we all doing mentally, physically? I know we're exhausted physically, but
always.
Yeah, and that leads us into our mental health topics.
And we're going to get into that because we're super excited to talk about the direction of where the podcast is going. But before we get into all that, Jenny, what has life brought to you this year? Let's say this year. It feels like a year.
This year.
But this last, I don't know, September, October, end of August.
Okay. I started a new job, literally started today. It was my first day. Working for a school district. So I'm excited getting back into like my behavior stuff, working with teachers and staff training and all of that. So just kind of getting my like behavior analyst hat back on. But we had our first hurricane.
Jenny had her first hurricane, which
let me tell you.
Hold on, can I tell you something? Nora's my daughter. She said the other day, she goes, yeah, Mom, Miss Jenny was obsessed with the hurricane.
You guys, obviously I documented it all on Instagram.
Well, because every time like I watched your stories, like she was right behind me watching. But it was so funny. I was like, baby, that was her first hurricane. Like
everyone made fun of me, by the way. Apparently sandbags are not a thing.
Jenny was ready for Hurricane-ageddon. But
my phone was blowing up with flood warnings, extreme winds, 70 miles. You're all going to float away and die.
I mean, it did hit some parts of South Florida really bad. So, but I mean, like typically this area, it does flood, but it's like we're all just like, all right, like here it comes.
Literally. It was terrifying.
Let's drink and have fun.
Well, here's my thing. My family and friends in California, my phone was, so not only am I getting these emergency alerts from all the Weather Channel apps that I downloaded, but my friends are like, are you okay? What's going on? My dad is like every 5 minutes texting me like, are you alive? Can you send me a video of the weather outside? And it was really just wind and rain. And the tropical storm was different. Even the rain is stronger on like a Friday afternoon in the summer.
Yeah,
it was really weird.
The consistent wind, you can definitely tell, is super strong. And I have experienced, growing up in Florida, I have experienced some crazy fucking hurricanes. But that was really not for us. It was not one of them.
Okay.
But it was a huge hurricane. It was.
Mine was more of a mental Obviously, with an earthquake, because that's what people go, well, don't you have earthquakes?
I did ask you that.
In California. You're like the fifth person. And I'm like, yeah, but an earthquake happens, you have no warning.
Yeah, true. And
so
it's, yeah.
You're shaking, the picture falls off the wall, and then it's done. You're like,
The shitty part about a hurricane is that you know it's coming
for a week.
For a week. And
it was awful.
They can predict, as good as they can with their, as close as possible with their educated guess.
No.
But you just never know what's going to happen.
That was the worst. I didn't sleep for like 48 hours because I thought I was going to wake up and be in a hurricane.
To me, what I get most annoyed about with the hurricanes is losing power. Like, that's where I'm like, ah! Like, I just like...
I bought lanterns. I bought a little radio.
Sandbags.
I went all out, guys. I'll show you my hurricane kit. It was great.
You were ready, though. You were fucking ready.
Okay. So, yeah, I experienced my first hurricane. That was extremely stressful. It was more of a mental thing.
Hey, you got through it.
I did. Possibly buying a home. We put in an offer.
So excited.
We'll
moving on.
That means we'll be permanent Florida residents.
Yes, and I am not mad about it at all. Not
it's
mad.
Kind of scary, but also very exciting. We started doing yoga.
We did. Jenny first initiated this.
Okay, well, I found this amazing studio.
Yeah.
And she has such a great story, and we became besties with the studio manager, which she's also going to be a guest. So I'm really excited.
I cannot wait for her to come on
She's
here.
Amazing.
But it's been really good. Like, it's, because I'm more into being a personal trainer and all that. Like, I'm more into, like, functional training
fitness.
And, heavy lifting, all that stuff. And so it gets me out of, like, that mindset, and, like, it takes me somewhere where I have to kind of, like, go inward. Where, like, in the gym you do that. Like, you have to, like, mind over matter, like, honestly, but it's something different where you're, like, becoming more aware of your mind and your body, like, together. Yeah, it's just something different.
Well, and I think I was having a hard time. Mind was in a bad place, and being in yoga was like, okay, this is a quiet place. I can actually talk to myself, where the gym, it's like loud, and we have headphones on and this, and I was like, this is too much stimulation for me.
What's crazy is recently I have not been going to the actual gym. I've been going to my apartment gym because I like the quietness of my apartment gym. It's, maybe there's one other person in there, and it's a nice facility. But it's like, sometimes the gym can just be so overwhelming.
Well, and that's why I think
with just how many people are in there, you know what I mean? And you're fighting over machines and things like that. So I've just kind of been, which is funny because being a personal trainer, I mean.
Well, I think both of us too over the summer focused on that. Like, we're going to get in shape. We're going to work on, like, you were more focused on your fitness. You'll go into that. I was a little more focused on, like, my mental health.
Yeah.
And that was, I feel like, a big part of our summer. And so that kind of leads into season 2. So, Sarah, how was your break? What happened to you? Catch us up.
We do have a big announcement. If you're not watching, I will. If you are watching, you can see I got engaged.
It was the cutest little engagement. Shout out to Lena.
Yes, okay. I mean, like, so we obviously we're planning on getting married, engaged, all of that. But, like, I think we talked about it in, like, the purity culture episode, where I was just like, I'm not in any rush. Like, and looking back at that episode, you were asking me all those, like, wedding questions.
I knew. I knew it was coming.
So, I mean, and I held to that, and I still do. Like, we weren't in any rush. I wasn't, like, begging him to, like, ask me to marry him.
Put a ring on it.
Like, I would joke around with him and be like, well, when you put a ring on it, like, things like that I would do. But, like, in the grand scheme of things,
it was a big surprise.
It was. And the way he did it, he had my kids there. He had our really good friend who does all of our photography.
Branding shoots.
Yeah. So it was just the sweetest thing. And he was just crying. Sorry, Pat. No, but it was really cute. And, like, it was like, he did it in a way where it was like, it was nothing out of the normal. Like, everything
he played so dumb. It was amazing.
Yes, he did. Like, made it sound like we were getting, you know, family photos done. We were modeling for family photos,
But
which him and I have done.
Lena was in on it. She was like, I'm going to give away a free family photo. I'm going to text both of you. And Jenny, you're going to be busy that weekend. Sarah's going to be like, me.
Yeah. So it was like, that wasn't like anything where I was like, And then, you know, we get there and she was like, oh, we're going to make a reel real quick for Instagram. I'm going to have you turn around and I'm going to count to 3 and then you're going to face me and the kids and they're going to run at you.
Genius.
And when she did that, it was just like, he was down on one knee.
It was cute. Go Pat.
I mean, I just was like, I was in like shock for a couple days because I was like,
The video is adorable if you want to go watch it. It's on Sarah's Instagram.
So, yeah.
We should put it on our Instagram.
I know. I should.
Okay.
And then lastly, I've been kind of trying to get my life and my shit together.
Aren't we
physically?
You did like next level it though, yeah.
I did. Sure. So I called it like, if you've never heard of 75 Hard, it's basically where you cut out alcohol, you stick to a certain diet.
Which is why I didn't do it.
You exercise twice a day. Once outside, you know, once in the gym or wherever. And you have to drink like a gallon of water and you have to read 10 pages of a nonfiction book. It's a lot. And so I wanted to do something similar to that, but at the same time, I wanted it to be like, I wanted it to work. You know
Sarah
what I mean?
Modified 75 Hard and made her own.
75 Vanilla.
75 Medium.
Is what I called
right in the middle.
Yeah. So it was like, I did cut out alcohol. I wanted to see how long of a stretch I could go with cutting out alcohol and then kind of like easing it back in those 75 days, which technically I'm still in it. So, you know, I powered through. I got through 26 days of no alcohol, which was really nice.
Man, girl, good for you. Good.
And I just needed that reset. Like, honestly, I needed a reset with
gut health. We've been doing a lot of research and talking about that.
Yeah.
Too.
And so I'm even in this like mindset right now where I'm like, okay, I'm not like not drinking, but I'm going to watch how I'm drinking because I did notice some physical changes in me with my gut and like things like that. So anyways, I think the biggest takeaway that I've had from that is like, I can go inward and accomplish things that are like not easy. So, and I mean, I did the 2 workouts a day.
Did you notice a difference? So you said you noticed a difference physically.
Yeah, like I haven't weighed myself because like I don't want to
weigh herself, which is good. I mean,
we've talked about how I've dealt with like eating disorders and things like that. So
but as far as your clothes fitting, looking in the mirror, like
okay, do you remember when we went to we had a girls trip too, by the way.
Oh yeah, we did. Okay, that was fun.
We went to Fort Lauderdale and visited her sister, and remember that like white corset top that I wore?
That wouldn't zip up. Yeah.
I tried it on the other day and I was like bending down on it and it wasn't like coming down. Like it was staying up.
Oh.
So I was like, okay, like we're making progress. This is the kind of progress I want.
Yes.
I'm not going to like put myself on a scale. I'm not going to be like, I have to hit this certain weight by this time, but it's like, I want my clothes to feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like a win for me.
That's such a good alternative to doing the scale. Because
Yeah.
I'll sit there, I'll get on it every day. It's like 2 pounds, 5 pounds, 5 pounds, 2 pounds, up, down, up, down. And then I'm fuck it, I'm going to eat a donut. Like
when I was personal training, I had some clients that didn't want to weigh themselves. And so we would focus on, which is totally fine. Some people want to, and it's like, that doesn't trigger them at all. Some people it does. So with clients that, you know, didn't want to weigh themselves, we're like, all right, non-scale victories. What can we consider a victory other than the scale? Your clothes start to feel loose, or they're starting to fit well again, or, you know, you weren't winded going up a flight of stairs, things like that, where it's like, okay.
My non-scale victories right now are like when I walk out of yoga, I'm never sweated like at the gym. Like I'll have some sweat, but when you walk out of yoga, I'm like, you can feel it in your muscles. But I don't feel like I get that satisfaction after, you know, doing spin or doing something. So I love that non-scale victories term because there's so much more than just the number on the scale and trying to hit a certain thing. Like,
and I mean, there was a point in my life where I could step on the scale and it didn't trigger me, but I think where I'm at right now, like, it definitely will. And then it'll like put me in this state of like
panic.
You're not doing enough. You're not, you got to do more. You got to do this. Yeah. So I don't use a scale, and doing things like wear a shirt that used to like be super tight. Now it's not as tight.
Or we all have, well, I finally got rid of my pants from high school. Like,
I don't have any. Well, I have shirts from high school that I like kept, but I don't have any clothes.
Were they Jesus shirts?
Oh, they were. I have a few like band shirts still, and I just can't get rid of it. I don't know.
No.
Homecoming shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one pair of sweats from high school. They're my water polo sweats. They have a little water polo on the side of them, number 4. And Tatum wears them. Like, she wore them to the pumpkin patch today, and I was like taking a video. I'm like, if you know, you know. Shout out to all my water polo girls. They're now Tatum's.
That's so cute. So speaking of no alcohol, taking a break from alcohol, sober October, all of that shit that's going on in the world right now, which is great stuff, we made a mocktail. So this one right here, cheers.
I lasted 12 hours in sober October.
Jenny was like, I'm going to do it, sober October. And I was like, yeah. And
she was so excited. I literally 12 hours maybe. But the best part was I posted that thing on Instagram, Sober October, and, like, of course, all my Florida friends are so supportive, and, like, Sarah and Pat, and everyone's like, yeah, you can do it. All my California friends were like, ha, 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 ha. People, like, know me my whole life. They're like, what is that? So, yeah, you were right. You win.
All right. Well, I'm always going to be, like, your coach.
My number one.
You got this.
But this mocktail flocktail is amazing. Tell me about
it. So we named this one after the Spice Girls because we're millennials still.
And ginger spice. You got spice up
Ginger
your
spice.
life.
Yeah. So spice up your life. Cheers. We have in this fresh ginger muddled with maple syrup. And we have apple cider.
Lime juice.
Fresh lime juice.
And then topped with
ginger kombucha.
Fucking fire.
It really is. It's honestly like, it's so good. And if you were like, well, I want to have this as a cocktail, you could add some whiskey to it for sure. Or
especially with the apple cider and the ginger. It's almost like a Jameson and ginger, but you can't taste Jameson.
It's really good. And then we kind of did a topper with an apple slice and a lime.
And our rim is
it brown sugar and cinnamon?
It was going to be sugar and brown cinnamon, and then I saw the brown sugar, and I was like, just throw it all in there. So it's freaking delicious.
We will link it. But yes, it's
Flocktail Mocktail.
Flocktail Mocktail.
It's exciting. See, look at us stepping up our
game, you guys.
Sobriety game.
Trying to be better all the time. Which also leads into our direction of the podcast. We are going to still do our would you rather and all that, so just get
my god, I didn't even think of that.
I
didn't come up with
we're going to get there. We're going to think of that. But if you follow us on Instagram, we kind of made an official announcement that we are going in the direction of mental health for the purpose of the podcast. Yeah.
With my behavioral health background and Sarah's fitness and health, nutrition, all that background, we're like, this is all we do basically all day and talk about is working out and how can we be better and supporting each other, and there's never any judgment, and we just want to share kind of our experiences and moving forward and bringing on guests that can bring some light to that. So
we're going to have, like we mentioned, we're going to have guests on here. It may not be on every episode, but we will try to get as many as we can in this season. And again, it's just going to be geared towards mental health. And, looking back at season 1, we had a couple of episodes that weren't primarily geared towards that, but like for the most part, like it was like resounding of like mental health, taking care of yourself, you know.
We're just trying to be better people.
Right. We're always trying to like,
and not pushing any.
We're not pushing anything. We're not trying to like bring judgment on anyone. It's more of like, let us be a resource to you.
And share our experiences very vulnerably and openly.
And have other people share their experiences. And this could be a way that it could, you know.
This is our outlet to feel better. And we want it also to be an outlet for everyone else.
I mean, listen, guys.
We're still going to be funny.
We're still going to be stupid as hell.
That's not on purpose. That just happens.
It just happens. But that whole, like, it's not going to be like this serious, like, transition. It's going to be...
Something we talk about a lot is self-awareness. And I think that's, like, we are constantly, like, very self-aware of, like, I'm doing great today. I'm doing shitty today. It is what it is. But, like, how do we make it better tomorrow? Or, like, let's put a plan in place. And just growing ourselves to be better. And I think, I mean... no matter how much we try or what we do, like, we are who we are. Like, I'm always going to be drinking. And
I'm always going to be like, all right, I'm going to get this done. And
I'm going to try 75, medium and a half. But I love it. It's your spirit.
Yeah.
We want to share it with you. And we are
share our trauma.
Yeah, but we're healing, and people
we are healing.
People come on. I feel like we see a lot of that, like, toxic positivity, which is a whole episode.
That's a TAWE, by the way. That's a TAWE.
And like, we're healed, and this made my whole life and changed us. Like, we've tried a lot of shit, and nothing really changes your life. It's a constant change.
Yeah, one thing we were saying is like the only constant in life is change.
Yeah, and what works for you for 3 months might not work for you in a year. And that's kind of something that we want to stay on top of. Like, what are people doing? Like, how are we keep holding each other accountable, having self-awareness, and working on being better people, and raising humans. Like,
that's fun stuff.
That's a whole episode.
Okay, we're back. We had to take a moment to find wildly inappropriate, but some of these are absolutely disgusting, and none of you guys, like, someone might be eating right now. I can't do that to you guys.
Okay, well, if you're eating, stop eating.
Stop eating. I mean, okay.
You go first.
Okay,
I'm still, like, baffled by some of these. Normally we pick them ahead of time, but again, school started. We're a little behind.
Yeah,
we're
getting there, guys. We're getting there. And someone commented last time on one of our YouTube videos. They're like, "Stop playing with your hair."
Hey, fuck off.
Fuck off, dude.
What's that TikTok girl?
What? Which one?
Oh God, what is she? You know what I'm talking about?
Fuck you, Hunter.
Fuck you, Hunter. Yes, love her. Number one.
Okay. My would you rather.
Dude,
would you rather...
I'm kind of nauseous after reading that. Okay.
Would you rather be an ugly genius? Like, you are a genius, okay?
But I'm really fucking ugly?
Or a hot moron?
I already feel like I'm a hot moron. Maybe I'm an ugly genius. I don't know. A hot moron.
Yeah.
You can definitely fake it till you make it. I feel like a lot of people do that.
And I mean, as much as I hate to say it, I mean, sometimes looks can get you a little...
Well, I feel like, especially in the workplace, I see that a lot. Like, you don't have to worry about it right now because you're not in the office. But when you are, that, like, looks mean a lot and matter. And people treat you differently based on how you look. So...
So hot morons. Hey guys, we're your hot morons.
That was a good one. Okay, are you ready?
Yep.
Would you rather have knives for fingers or penises for fingers?
Oh man.
All 10.
All 10, either knives or penises. Like, how big are the penises?
Like finger size.
Like soft?
They gotta be.
Are they floppy?
Well, you have to like arouse them every day to pick up your coffee. Okay, let's get my fingers, put them in my mouth and suck out and grab your coffee. So it's penises, is that traits?
I have so many questions. Oh my god.
I work with children. You're gonna kill them or poke them.
Here's the thing, okay? If you have knives as fingers, at least you could put some like covering on them, right? You could maybe put like
Oh yeah, I can get some sexy metal gloves.
You know,
it'd just be like a mysterious
like a weird
glove lady.
Edward Scissorhands or something, but like.
Well, what if the penises are always erect? You could get gloves for those too. But I feel like
I'm gonna have to say knives for fingers because if they're floppy.
I'm just thinking about
penis
like alone time.
Playing.
Look what you do with all those pieces. I feel like I would be pieces. Either way, we would need some gloves to cover those up. Right?
I'm gonna pick knives.
Okay, well I think that's not the first one we ever disagreed on.
I think maybe it is. I think so.
I could just imagine just being like, never mind.
We could go on forever on this stupid shit.
Cheers to us finally disagreeing on something.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah. Okay, so reeled it back in.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for listening. We really are excited for season 2. We have a lot coming up.
A lot in the works.
Sarah and I really brainstormed on what we want to talk about and what we want to do, and we just want to emphasize our healing process and how we are working on healing from the inside and doing more like soul work and things that make us feel good and less healing from the outside because it's very surface. And surface healing things are like the scale and...
Yeah. I mean, one big thing I've kind of been doing some research is realizing that we store a lot of trauma in our bodies.
Yes, 100%.
And that's one thing where I'm like, man, maybe like I feel like I physically can't get to a certain goal that I have because of like all this stored trauma I've had from the last four years or so.
Mine's like a lot more years.
I mean, yeah, maybe it's...
I feel like, what do you think 4 years? We were like...
Well, for me, like, I had some big life changes in the last 4 years. And I'm like, maybe that's what it is. But then I'm like...
No, your trauma goes back all the way to your childhood.
Yeah, so...
And we feel that in yoga when we're trying to, like...
I cannot do some of the stretches. Like, my hips, my lower back, like...
But you can feel a release. And I know this sounds crazy. But we'll get more into that because we've been talking about... the benefits of yoga and sound healing and maybe some psychedelic healing, things like that. We're really just like exploring all of our options here and sharing that with you.
Yes.
So, coping, growing, learning, repeat. Like that's kind of where we're at. And thank you for coming along this journey with us. Also, we are opening it up for people to... volunteer or request to be on the show. We would love. We have had people reach out already, so we're definitely going to put a link in so that we can have people join. Or if you have a topic, like we have that's a whole episode you can fill out. So that's also a resource. Like we just want to make sure that we put everything out there. And then if you guys have great ideas, like we're really open to feedback. If you think it's annoying and you want us to just be drunk and funny, like be good feedback too.
We could do that too. Like, I think we should definitely, and we will. We'll still have like, I want to do another millennial episode.
Oh, we need a millennial part 2 100.
Yeah. So like we are going to keep that going, but I think we can definitely be a great resource for, mental health. And it's just one of those things where it's like, as millennials, we're the ones that kind of open that door of like, hey, it's okay to talk about your mental health. It's okay to not necessarily trauma dump on people, because that is a thing. People do that.
Sharing individual experiences,
but it's okay to, I mean, go to a therapist. It's okay to open up to someone that you feel comfortable, and you're in in an environment where you have that chance to talk about something. So, I mean, and I feel like just us as millennials, we've kind of been the ones that are like, hey, let's talk about this. Like, no one's talking about it.
Yeah, millennials. Like you said, we kind of opened the door, but it's everyone. Mm-hmm. And I think, like, mental health still has so much of a stigma. And I've struggled with that my whole life. Do I tell them I'm bipolar? Do I tell them I'm not? Do I, talk about this? And I feel more comfortable openly talking about it, having a platform to do that, and making it okay and normalizing it. I want other people to have to feel that too. And, the things that you've gone through. Like, we need to be able to express it, and this is our outlet. And
because I feel like, too, a lot of times we want to, like, downplay things we've gone through, and in reality, you look at it and you're like, no, like, trauma is trauma, and it doesn't have to be a certain thing to be trauma. Mm-hmm. And there's all different kinds of things we've experienced that are trauma. And, I mean, we're not going to, harp on that the entire season, but we are like that self-awareness of being like, oh my gosh, maybe I have this tendency because of this certain situation that happened. It's just that self-awareness.
So I think about, like, our obsession with watching, like, documentaries, and you listen to murder podcasts. I
do, and it's like
I watch, like, the Netflix stuff. Any, like, How to Catch a Killer, I'm a Murderer. I don't know what these
I'm a murderer.
The Dahmer. I mean, I will, because that shit is fascinating. That's the stuff I want to talk about. Like, how did that happen? How do we prevent that? How do I know tomorrow I'm not going to wake up and start eating faces? Like, this is a real concern for people, Like, obviously, like, this is very extreme.
Guys, she's not going to wake up and eat faces.
No, but let's figure out what we can do to feel better before it gets to that point. No?
No,
I'm spiraling right now.
No, I'm laughing because I can't get the thought of eating faces.
Eating a face. I mean, it's fine. But also, people that have, mental health issues, or us as women or men, you go to the doctor and you're like, I feel depressed, or I feel sad, or I'm not happy. What do? They shove a pill down your throat. Like, okay.
Exploring the options.
Yeah.
Exploring the options.
We're not trying to eat Jeffrey Dahmer.
We're not going there, guys.
But I feel like, we talk about this stuff. Like, how do you get to that point? And how do you prevent that? Not that anyone is at that point. But if you are, definitely seek help.
Seek help, please.
And here are some options that work for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I went off on a tangent there.
It's okay. It's our first episode. Thank you again for listening. We hope you felt inspired by what we were talking about in this episode and the direction of where the podcast is going.
So make sure that you follow up on our website, check out our links, submit requests for episodes, submit requests to be on the podcast with us, whether it's a Zoom or in person.
Yeah, you don't have to be here in person, but Zoom can work for sure.
Yeah, technologically, I'm not sure, but we'll figure it out.
Well,
because
we got this.
We're excited. I have a lot of friends and family, and we've talked a lot about people that we want on the show. Mm-hmm. So if you would like to also be on the show, please reach out. We want to get all of your feedback and get to know you guys and share other experiences other than our own.
Yes. And, again, we are very on it with wanting to make sure we know every single one of you. And whoever you're listening, any type of feedback we get, we went to yoga and someone was like, oh my gosh, we follow you. I follow you on Instagram. Blah, blah. So it's please.
That's the cool part is people coming out of nowhere or texting me, people in California or messaging me I listened to this episode and I love you so much and you're doing so amazing, or, I listened to this episode, I had no idea and this is so cool, thank you for sharing, and people are just inspired literally all the time, and it's very, very fulfilling. So please keep those coming.
Yes, let us know. For sure. Once again, you are listening to Naked with Socks, a podcast where we
Assess the mess with finesse.